a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. LeBron James. LeBron Raymone James Sr. is an American professional basketball player for the Los Angeles Lakers of the National Basketball Association. Often considered the best basketball player in the world, and regarded by some as the greatest player of all time, James's NBA accomplishments are extensive and include 4 NBA Most Valuable Player awards, 3 NBA Finals MVP awards, 2 Olympic gold medals, 3 All-Star Game MVP awards, and an NBA scoring title. He is the all-time NBA playoff scoring leader and has amassed 14 NBA All-Star Game appearances, 12 All-NBA First Team designations, and 5 All-Defensive First Team honors. A prep-to-pro, James played high school basketball for St. Vincent St. Mary High School in his hometown of Akron, Ohio, where he was heavily touted in the national media as a future NBA superstar. He joined the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2003 as the first overall draft pick. James quickly emerged as a league star and concluded his first season by winning the NBA Rookie of the Year award. He would go on to establish himself as one of the premier players in the NBA with multiple accolades, including being given the NBA Most Valuable Player award in 2009 and 2010. However, after falling short of the championship expectations set by the media, fans, and himself, James departed Cleveland in 2010 as a free agent to sign with the Miami Heat. This move was announced in an ESPN special titled The Decision, and is one of the most controversial free agent decisions in American sports history. In Miami, James won his first NBA championship in 2012, and followed that with another title a year later. He was named League MVP and NBA Finals MVP in both championship years. In 2014, James opted out of his contract with Miami after 4 seasons to re-sign with the Cavaliers. In 2016, James led the Cavaliers to their first NBA championship by defeating the Golden State Warriors to end Cleveland's 52-year professional sports title drought. In 2018, he opted out of his Cleveland contract to sign with the Lakers. Early life. James was born on December 30, 1984, in Akron, Ohio to a 16-year-old mother, Gloria Marie James. His father, Anthony McClelland, has an extensive criminal record and was not involved in their life. When James was growing up, life was often a struggle for the family, as they moved from apartment to apartment in the seedier neighborhoods of Akron while Gloria struggled to find steady work. Realizing that her son would be better off in a more stable family environment, Gloria allowed him to move in with the family of Frank Walker, a local youth football coach who introduced James to basketball when he was 9 years old. James started playing organized basketball in the 5th grade. He later played amateur athletic union basketball for the Northeast Ohio Shooting Stars. The team enjoyed success on a local and national level, led by James and his friends Son Cotton, Drew Joyce III, and Willie McGee. The group dubbed themselves the Fab Four and promised each other that they would attend high school together. In a move that stirred local controversy, they chose to attend St. Vincent St. Mary High School, a predominantly white private Catholic school. Basketball. As a freshman, James averaged 21 points and 6 rebounds per game for the St. Vincent St. Mary varsity basketball team. The Fighting Irish went 27-0 en route to the Division III state title, making them the only boys' high school team in Ohio to finish the season undefeated. As a sophomore, James averaged 25.2 points and 7.2 rebounds with 5.8 assists and 3.8 steals per game. For some home games during the season, St. Vincent St. Mary played at the University of Akron's 5,492-seat Rhodes Arena to satisfy ticket demand from alumni, fans, and college and NBA scouts who wanted to see James play. The Fighting Irish finished the season 26-1 and repeated as state champions. For his outstanding play, James was named Ohio Mr. Basketball and selected to the USA Today All-USA First Team, becoming the first sophomore to do either. Prior to the start of his junior year, James appeared in Slam magazine and writer Ian Jones lauded him as possibly the best high school basketball player in America right now. During the season, he appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated, becoming the first high school basketball underclassman to do so. With averages of 29 points, 8.3 rebounds, 5.7 assists, and 3.3 steals per game, he was again named Ohio Mr. Basketball and selected to the USA Today All-USA First Team, and became the first junior to be named Male Basketball Gatorade National Player of the Year. St. Vincent St. Mary finished the year with a 23-4 record, ending their season with a loss in the Division II championship game. Following the loss, James unsuccessfully petitioned for a change to the NBA's draft eligibility rules, which required prospective players to have at least a high school diploma, in an attempt to enter the 2002 NBA draft. During this time, he used marijuana, which he said was to help cope with the stress that resulted from the constant media attention he was receiving. Throughout his senior year, James and the Fighting Irish traveled around the country to play a number of nationally ranked teams, including a game against Oak Hill Academy that was nationally televised on ESPN2, Time Warner Cable. Looking to capitalize on James's popularity, offered St. Vincent St. Mary's games to subscribers on a pay-per-view basis throughout the season. For the year, James averaged 31.6 points, 9.6 rebounds, 4.6 assists, and 3.4 steals per game, was named Ohio Mr. Basketball and selected to the USA Today All-USA First Team for an unprecedented third consecutive year, and was named Gatorade National Player of the Year for the second consecutive year. He participated in 3 year-end high school basketball all-star games, the EA Sports Round Ball Classic, the Jordan Capital Classic, and the McDonald's All-American Game, losing his National Collegiate Athletic Association eligibility and making it official that he would enter the 2003 NBA draft. Many basketball analysts, scouts, and writers have remarked that James left high school as one of the best and most hyped prospects of all time. Also during his senior year, James was the centerpiece of several controversies. For his 18th birthday, he skirted state amateur bylaws by accepting a Hummer H2 from his mother, who had secured a loan for the vehicle by utilizing LeBron's future earning power as an NBA superstar. This prompted an investigation by the Ohio High School Athletic Association, because its guidelines stated that no amateur may accept any gift valued over $100 as a reward for athletic performance. James was cleared of any wrongdoing, because he had accepted the gift from a family member and not from an agent or any outside source. Later in the season, James accepted 2 throwback jerseys worth $845 from an Urban clothing store in exchange for posing for pictures, officially violating OSAR rules and resulting in him being stripped of his high school sports eligibility. James appealed the ruling and his penalty was eventually dropped to a 2-game suspension, allowing him to play the remainder of the year. The Irish were also forced to forfeit one of their wins, their only official loss that season. In his first game back after the suspension, James scored a career-high 52 points. St. Vincent St. Mary went on to win the Division II championship, marking their third division title in 4 years. Football. As an underclassman, James played wide receiver for St. Vincent St. Mary's football team. He was recruited by some Division I programs, including Notre Dame. At the conclusion of his sophomore year, he was named first-team All-State, and as a junior, he helped lead the Fighting Irish to the state semi-finals. He did not play during his senior year, because of a wrist injury that he sustained in an AAU basketball game. Some sports analysts, football critics, high school coaches, former and current players have speculated that James could have played in the National Football League. 2003-2004 rookie season. James was selected by his hometown team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, as the first overall pick of the 2003 NBA draft. In his first regular season game, he scored 25 points against the Sacramento Kings, setting an NBA record for most points scored by a prep-to-pro player in his debut performance. At the conclusion of the season, he was named the NBA Rookie of the Year, finishing with averages of 20.9 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. He became the first Cavalier to receive the honor and just the third player in NBA history to average at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists per game as a rookie. The Cavaliers finished the season 35-47, failing to make the playoffs despite an 18-game improvement over the previous year. 2004-2008 Rise to superstardom. James earned his first NBA All-Star Game selection in 2004-05, contributing 13 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists in a winning effort for the Eastern Conference. Around the league, teams took note of his rapid development, with Denver Nuggets coach George Karl telling Sports Illustrated, "It's weird talking about a 20-year-old kid being a great player, but he is a great player. He's the exception to almost every rule." On March 20th, James scored 56 points against the Toronto Raptors, setting Cleveland's new single-game points record. With final averages of 27.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, 7.2 assists, and 2.2 steals per game, he was named to his first All-NBA team. Despite a 30-20 record to start the year, the Cavaliers again failed to make the playoffs, finishing the season 42-40. At the 2006 All-Star Game, James led the East to victory with 29 points and was named the NBA All-Star Game Most Valuable Player, behind final season averages of 31.4 points, 7 rebounds, and 6.6 assists per game. He also finished second in overall NBA Most Valuable Player award voting to Steve Nash. Under James's leadership, the Cavaliers qualified for the playoffs for the first time since 1998. In his postseason debut, James recorded a triple-double in a winning effort versus the Washington Wizards. In Game 3 of the series, he made the first game-winning shot of his career, making another in Game 5. Cleveland would go on to defeat the Wizards before being ousted by the Detroit Pistons in the second round. In 2006-07, James's averages declined to 27.3 points, 6.7 rebounds, 6 assists, and 1.6 steals per game. Some analysts attributed the fall to a regression in his passing skills and shot selection, which stemmed from a lack of effort and focus. The Cavaliers finished the season with 50 wins for the second consecutive year, and entered the playoffs as the East's second seed. In Game 5 of the NBA Conference Finals, James notched 48 points with 9 rebounds and 7 assists, scoring 29 of Cleveland's last 30 points, including the game-winning layup with 2 seconds left, against the Pistons. After the game, play-by-play announcer Marv Albert called the performance one of the greatest moments in postseason history, and color commentator Steve Kerr described it as Jordan-esque. In 2012, ESPN ranked the performance the 4th greatest in modern NBA playoff history. The Cavaliers went on to win Game 6 and claim their first ever Eastern Conference championship, earning them a matchup with the San Antonio Spurs in the NBA Finals. During the championship round, James struggled, averaging 22 points, 7.0 rebounds, and 6.8 assists per game on just 35.6% shooting, and Cleveland was eliminated in a sweep. In February of the 2007-08 season, James was named All-Star Game MVP for the second time behind a 27-point, 8-rebound, and 9-assist performance. On March 21, he moved past Brad Daugherty as the Cavaliers' all-time leading scorer in a game against the Raptors, doing so in over 100 less games than Daugherty. His 30 points per game were also the highest in the league, representing his first scoring title. Despite his individual accomplishments, Cleveland's record fell from the year before to 45-37, seeded 4th in the East entering the playoffs. The Cavaliers defeated the Wizards in the first round for the 3rd consecutive season before being eliminated in 7 games by the eventual champion Boston Celtics in the next round. During the decisive 7th game in Boston, James scored 45 points and Paul Pierce scored 41 in a game the Associated Press described as a shootout. 2008-2010 MVP seasons. At the conclusion of the 2008-09 season, James finished second in NBA Defensive Player of the Year award voting and made his first NBA All-Defensive team, posting 23 chase-down blocks and a career-high 93 total blocks. He also became only the fourth post-merger player to lead his team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks in a single season, behind his play and the acquisition of All-Star guard Mo Williams. Cleveland went a franchise record 66-16 and fell just one game short of matching the best home record in league history, with final averages of 28.4 points, 7.6 rebounds, 7.2 assists, 1.7 steals, and 1.2 blocks per game. James became the first Cavalier to win the MVP award. Reflecting on James's performance for ESPN, John Hollinger later wrote, "He's having what is arguably the greatest individual season in history, and it's time we gave him his due for it." In the playoffs, Cleveland swept the Pistons and the Atlanta Hawks to earn a matchup with the Orlando Magic in the conference finals. In Game 1 of the series, James scored 49 points on 66% shooting in a losing effort for the Cavaliers. In Game 2, he hit a game winner to tie the series at 1-1. Cleveland would lose the series in 6 games, and following the loss in Game 6, James immediately left the floor without shaking hands with his opponents, which was an act that many media members viewed as unsportsmanlike. For the series, he averaged 38.5 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 8 assists per game, finishing the postseason with a career playoff-high 35.3 points per game. In February of the 2009-10 season, James was forced into a temporary point guard role following a series of injuries to players in the Cavaliers' backcourt. Behind his leadership, Cleveland lost no momentum, finishing the year with the best record in the league for the second consecutive season. Due in part to his increased minutes as the Cavaliers' primary ball handler, James increased his statistical production, averaging 29.7 points, 7.3 rebounds, 8.6 assists, 1.6 steals, and 1 block per game on 50% shooting en route to another MVP award. To open the playoffs, Cleveland advanced past the Bulls to earn a matchup with the Celtics in the second round. James was heavily criticized for not playing well in Game 5 of the series, shooting only 20% on 14 shots, and scoring 15 points. The team suffered its worst loss in franchise history, and at the conclusion of the game, James walked off the court to a smattering of boos from Cleveland's home crowd. The Cavaliers were officially eliminated from the postseason in Game 6, with James posting 27 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists, and 9 turnovers in the losing effort. The decision. James became an unrestricted free agent at 12:01 a.m. EDT on July 1, 2010. During this time, he was contacted by several teams, including the Bulls, Los Angeles Clippers, Miami Heat, New York Knicks, New Jersey Nets, and Cavaliers. On July 8, he announced on a live ESPN special titled The Decision that he would sign with the Heat. The telecast was broadcast from the Boys and Girls Club of Greenwich, Connecticut, and raised $2.5 million for the charity. An additional $3.5 million was raised from advertising revenue, which was donated to other charities. The day before the special, fellow free agents Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade also announced that they would sign with Miami. Reports later arose that the trio had discussed their upcoming 2010 free agencies among themselves back in 2006. James decided to join with Bosh and Wade in part so that he could shoulder less of the offensive load. He thought that his improved teammates would give him a better chance of winning an NBA championship than had he stayed in Cleveland. Heat president Pat Riley played a major role in selling James on the idea of playing with Bosh and Wade. James would be relieved of the burden of scoring, and he thought he could be the first player since Oscar Robertson to average a triple-double in a season. Upon leaving the Cavaliers, James drew intense criticism from sports analysts, executives, fans, and current and former players. The decision itself was also scrutinized and viewed as unnecessary. Many thought that the prolonged wait for James's choice was unprofessional, as not even the teams courting him were aware of his decision until moments before the show. Upon learning that James would not be returning to Cleveland, Cavaliers owner Dan Gilbert published an open letter to fans in which he aggressively denounced James's actions. Some angry fans of the team recorded videos of themselves burning his jersey. Former NBA players, including Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, were also critical of James, condemning him for joining with Bosh and Wade in Miami and not trying to win a championship as the man. James drew further criticism in a September interview with CNN when he claimed that race might have been a factor in the fallout from the decision. As a result of his actions during the 2010 free agency period, he quickly gained a reputation as one of America's most disliked athletes, a radical change from years prior. The phrase, "taking my talents to South Beach," became a punchline for critics. In retrospect, James has expressed some regret over his handling of the decision. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like